Everyone thought I would use the favor of saving her life to force her to marry me, but they didn't know that this time I would personally destroy this ill-fated relationship. I stared at Liu Ruyan as she walked in arm with Lu Mingyuan. The way she wiped her hands was exactly the same as in my previous life. When old Mr. Lo asked that question again, I smiled and took out the plane ticket I had prepared. Everyone knew how much I loved Liu Ruyan, and they were all certain I would use the fact that I saved her life as a condition to try every means possible to make her marry me. In my last life, I did exactly that. What I got in return was cold disdain and a fatal ending. The pain of falling to the ground and feeling my entire body shatter is still vivid. And even the look of relief in her eyes when she pushed me down the stairs is etched into my memory. Having lived a second life, I don't want to harbor such delusions anymore. I took a deep breath, looked at old Mr. Liu with a calm smile and said, "There is a world of difference between her status and mine. She deserves better. I also want to pursue my own life. Please, Uncle Liu, grant me this." Old Mr. Liu, sitting opposite me, remained silent for a long time before letting out a long sigh and nodding. "You're right. The difference in status between you two is too great. Happiness wouldn't be guaranteed. The Liu family is grateful to you for saving her life and for the painstaking effort you put into raising her so well. The Liu family will give you as much money as you want." As he spoke, old Mr. Liu looked up at me. "Hey Qiang, actually, you don't have to leave Jingo. The Liu family will definitely pave the way for your future life." Hearing this, I smiled and shook my head, lowering my eyes. "The sky is high and the birds are free. I also want to live a life that doesn't revolve around her." "Uncle Liu, I must trouble you. Please don't tell Liu Ruyan about my departure yet. She just took over the company and is very busy. I don't want her to be distracted by these things." By the time I came out of the Liu family's old mansion, it was almost dark. Just as I opened the car door, the phone in my pocket rang. I took it out and saw it was Liu Ruyan calling. In my previous life, at this time, she and Lu Mingyuan had already shared their feelings for each other, but I had used the debt of saving her life to let old Mr. Liu force her to marry me. Immersed in happiness after the wedding, I hadn't noticed a thing until I walked in on her passionately kissing Lu Mingyuan. Only then did I realize that someone else had lived in her heart all along. My thoughts flashed back as I pressed answer. Before I could speak, her roar erupted from the other end. "Hey Qiang, where the hell are you? I told you to bring the documents over. Look how much time has passed. You can't even handle such a small thing. What use do I have for you?" Startled by her shout, I remembered I was supposed to deliver documents to her. I took a breath. If this were the past, I would have bowed and scraped, apologizing for a long time before rushing them over. But now I suddenly didn't want to do that anymore. She was silent on the other end for a long time, seemingly unresponsive. After a moment, she muttered, "How can you forget this? What a pig brain." "Forget it. Just cook dinner. I'm coming back soon." After saying this, she hung up without giving me a chance to speak. I stared at the disconnected screen, and a wave of bitterness still couldn't help but well up in my heart. Tears spun in my eyes. The next second, I quickly opened the booking app and ordered a ticket to go abroad in a week. 5 years ago, living in a small county town, I accidentally saved her when she was kidnapped and fell off a cliff. At that time, she was seriously injured and had forgotten everyone and everything. I spent all my money to save her. After reporting it, the police told me they couldn't find any information about her identity and asked me to take care of her first. That care lasted for 5 years. After she recovered, she showed a completely different side. Not only was she smart, but her face was stunningly handsome. The villagers teased me, saying, "Hey Qiang, you've picked up a wife for yourself." I was clumsy with words and didn't know how to argue, but I was secretly happy. I was an orphan with no father or mother since childhood, raised by the village. Because of her appearance, my life became different. I dropped out of school to work 4 jobs a day to support her studies, giving her the best clothes and things, pampering her into a lovable, delicate princess. She was also very ambitious. She studied well and was good to me, distressed by my hard work. She secretly went to work and used the money she earned to buy me new clothes. In the cold winter, she would pick me up from work every day. Those days lasted for 5 years until her family found her. Only then did she learn she was a wealthy heir who had been well protected by her family since childhood, and her identity couldn't be known by anyone. On the day we left the small town, she held my hand and said to me with curved eyes, "Hey Qiang, come with me. Let me take care of you for the rest of your life." I pushed the door open. The light in the living room was dim. She was sitting on the sofa in an expensive, custom-made black suit, her face gloomy. Hearing the door, she slowly turned to look at me, her voice cold. "Where have you been? Didn't I tell you to stay home obediently?" I stood there looking at her for a long time, then turned on the light without a word and answered nonchalantly. Uncle Liu had something to ask me. I went back to the old mansion. After speaking, I walked into the kitchen and skillfully put on an apron to cook. Seeing my cold attitude, she instantly flared up and rushed into the kitchen. "Hey Yang, are you trying to revolt? What kind of attitude is that when talking to me?" I don't know when it started, but she always spoke to me with thorns. In my previous life, I just thought she was stressed from taking over the company. But now I understand. When love is gone, there's no need to be polite. A sour emotion spread in my heart. I took a breath, put down the knife, and turned to look at her. "Then what kind of attitude do you want me to use, Liu Ruyan? I don't owe you anything." At these words, her hands instinctively clenched, her eyes glaring at me red. She sneered. "Don't owe me? Hey Kyung, if it weren't for me, could you live in such a nice house and drive such a good car? Don't forget, you were just an orphan from a small county town. The more familiar someone is, the better she knows where to stab the knife." My heart was already shattered into pieces, but I had to hold back the tears. Much later, she seemed to realize what she had said. She restrained her temper and was about to speak when her phone rang. The name Mingyuan appeared on the screen. Compared to her rage when talking to me, her tone with Lu Mingyuan was as gentle as water. "Ayuan, don't worry, I'll come pick you up right away. Stay in the car and don't move." She left the kitchen anxiously, without even giving me a glance. It wasn't until the door closed that she might have heard the sound of me stumbling and falling to the ground, followed by suppressed sobs. She didn't come home that night. The next day, I saw the trending search, a picture of her being carried into a villa by Lu Mingyuan. Everyone said they were a perfect match. Yes, they belonged to the same world. To her, I was just an outsider who happened to save her life. 3 days later, I prepared my materials for going abroad and contacted a study agency at a high price, planning to study abroad for a few years. Uncle Yu had always been good to me, and since I was leaving and taking such a large sum of money from him, I thought we would never meet again. I planned to buy a small gift for him. I went to a tie shop. As soon as I pushed the door open, I saw her trying a tie on Lu Mingyuan. She was full of smiles, carefully adjusting the tie while their eyes lingered on each other, full of ambiguity. Just then, Liu Ruyan noticed me standing not far away. Her smiling face instantly turned gloomy. She frowned and walked toward me with dissatisfaction. "Are you tracking me?" My heart skipped a beat. Just as I was about to explain, Lu Mingyuan spoke up first, easily taking Liu Ruyan's hand. "This must be Mr. He, right? The benefactor who saved Ruyan?" Looking at them like this, I couldn't stay calm. My tone was a bit aggressive as I replied, "What if I am?" "Hey Chang, watch your tone," Liu Ruyan roared. I looked at her and smiled indifferently. Did I say something wrong? Seeing this, Lu Mingyuan hurriedly came out to smooth things over. He smiled gently and tugged at a corner of Liu Ruyan's clothes. "All right, Ruyan, why get angry at such a lowly person? Mr. He, it seems living in the Liu family for a few days has made you forget your identity. Don't forget, if you hadn't saved Ruyan, you wouldn't be qualified to stand here talking to me for the rest of your life." Everyone thought that my saving Liu Ruyan was my honor instead. Even she herself thought so. At this point, I lowered my eyes and gave a cold snort, saying plainly, "If I could do it all over again, I'd rather have never saved her." "Hechang!" Liu Ruyan roared, her eyes looking like they wanted to devour me. She gritted her teeth and said, "I dare you to say that again!" I looked up at her, my vision blurred by tears, and answered with a hoarse voice, "Liu Ruyan, if I could, I'd rather have never saved you." This time she stopped talking, just looking at me with a complex expression for a long time before finally leaving in a huff. Lu Mingyuan immediately went to follow, but as he passed me, he stopped and looked at me with a proud smile. "By the way, I have some good news to share with Mr. He. Ruyan is pregnant!" The night before I left, Liu Ruyan took the initiative to call me, which was rare. She said she wanted to talk to me. When she came to find me, she immediately saw the packed suitcases next to the entrance. She froze and asked in confusion, "Where are you going?" I looked at the suitcases plainly and lied to her for the first time. Do you remember Zhang Yi, who used to live next to us? He's sick and says he misses me. He wants me to go back and see him. When are you leaving? She asked hurriedly. I hesitated for a moment and subconsciously continued to lie. Tomorrow night, she nodded and said to herself. Zhang Yi used to take good care of me too. Tomorrow night, I'll go back with you. I didn't answer. We both remained silent. The atmosphere was eerily quiet. Eventually, she broke the awkwardness. She looked at me hesitantly several times before finally taking a velvet box from her pocket. When she opened it, a dazzling diamond ring the size of a pigeon egg came into view. My heart skipped a beat, but I couldn't help but think bitterly. What did she mean by this? Does it look good? She asked. I snapped out of it and looked up at her. It's okay. She stopped talking, pursed her lips, and looked a bit disappointed. Hey, Kang. I've been too irritable lately and said many things that hurt you, but I really didn't mean it. She suddenly began to apologize. I smiled faintly. I thought she was decent enough to at least say sorry for everything she had done before we parted. It's okay, it's all in the past, I answered indifferently. Her eyes lit up, and she suddenly grabbed my hand. Really? You're really not angry? I didn't know why she was suddenly like this. Just as I was about to speak, the phone in my pocket vibrated. I pushed her away and saw a message from the real estate agent I had contacted. Mr. He, the rental arrangement you asked for has been finalized. The landlord will contact you as soon as you land. I turned off the screen and looked at her again. This time, it was really time to say goodbye. I took a deep breath and smiled at her for the first time in a long while. I'm not angry. Hearing this, she seemed to breathe a huge sigh of relief and wanted to hold my hand again, but this time I subconsciously took a step back. This subtle movement was noticed by her, and her smile froze visibly. Hey Chang, do you really not blame me? Actually, I have a lot to tell you. Liu Ruyan, let's talk when I get back. I interrupted her, feeling inexplicably tired. She opened her mouth but said nothing in the end, just nodding. Yes, we have plenty of time. It'll be fine to talk after we come back from seeing Zhang Yi. I asked her to leave on the grounds that I was tired and wanted to sleep. As she left, she kept looking back at me. It wasn't until she reached the door that she stuffed the ring into my hand. Keep this for me for now. I'll pick you up after work tomorrow, and we'll go see Zhang Yi together. I looked at her with a silent smile. The moment the door closed, I threw the ring into the trash without hesitation. Dragging my suitcase and taking my car keys, I headed for the airport. This time, it was truly over. 5 years later, the plane landed in Jingo. As I walked out of the terminal, I saw from a distance a woman with a gentle face leaning against a black Bentley, smiling. Obviously, Su Wan Wan saw me too. She waved at me and then strode over. Long time no see, Hechiang? I also curled my lips into a smile. It's rare for Director Su to personally pick me up. Su Wan Wan didn't rush to reply but took the luggage from my hand. While gesturing for me to get into the car, she said, Everyone is waiting for you. They're so excited to see you, the late blooming great screenwriter. After leaving Jingo 5 years ago, I flew to the United States to study. I accidentally came across the screenwriting industry and fell in love with it. From knowing nothing to being able to write a good script independently, and then to dedicating myself to the position of a screenwriter, it only took me 5 years to make a name for myself. Many people were curious about what kind of ability a screenwriter who changed careers halfway had. It just so happened that Su Wan Wan had a very good IP in her hands. She contacted me saying she wanted to collaborate once. Mindful of the help she gave me abroad, I returned to Jinzhou without much thought. On the way to the welcome dinner, I looked at the receding street scenes outside the window and couldn't help but feel emotional. I never thought I would return to this place. How long are you planning to stay this time? Su Wan Wan asked. I didn't think much and answered honestly. I'll leave as soon as your movie is finished. The weather in Yuncheng should be nice then. I'll go there to gather materials. Su Wan Wan nodded understandingly, and neither of us spoke again. Soon we reached the place where she had set the welcome dinner. We walked upstairs together. As soon as the private room door was pushed open, I saw colleagues who had been waiting for a long time. What surprised me most was that I actually saw Liu Ruyan here, someone I thought I would never see again in this life. Let me introduce everyone. This is the famous screenwriter, Zhou. whose Chinese name is Hekyang. As soon as Su Wan Wan finished speaking, bursts of applause rang out in the room. Several people looked at me and couldn't help but discuss quietly. I didn't expect such a famous screenwriter to be so young. If I didn't know better, I'd think he was just a green boy. Don't say that. His ability is obvious to everyone in the industry. I heard director Su put in a lot of effort to invite him back. I see their relationship isn't ordinary. These comments didn't affect me. I withdrew my gaze from Liu Ruyan and smiled calmly at them. Everyone can just call me Xiao Chang. Please look after me in our future cooperation. After speaking, Su Wan Wan gestured for me to sit down. Since entering the room, I had felt a burning gaze. It was obvious who it was from. As soon as I sat down, Su Wan Wan introduced Liu Ruyan to me. Hekyang, this is the executive producer of the movie President Liu Ruyan. She then looked at Liu Ruyan. President Liu, this is my good friend Hekyang. I haven't heard you mention this friend before, Liu Ruyan said in a low, elegant voice that sounded somewhat displeased. Su Wan Wan raised an eyebrow. After all, he's not an ordinary friend. Plus, Hekyang doesn't live in Jingo, so it's normal that President Liu hasn't met him. Not an ordinary friend? Liu Ruyan slowly chewed on those words and sneered. Seeing the bad atmosphere, everyone consciously shut up. I poured a full glass of wine, stood up suddenly, and looked at Liu Ruyan. President Liu, thank you for your investment in Jian Qingshan. My relationship with Wan Wan is indeed quite good. This glass of wine will serve as an early wish for the movie's success. This action made both Liu Ruyan and Su Wan Wan stand up at the same time. Both looked at me with furrowed brows. Before the wine in the glass reached the bottom, Su Wan Wan snatched it and, amidst everyone's surprise, drank the rest in one go. She then turned to me with a smile. With your health, how can you drink like that? Don't try to be brave. Familiar images rushed into my mind. The first time Liu Ruyan and Su Wan Wan met was 3 years ago. When I was a newcomer, there was a similar social gathering. The director at the time insisted I drink a whole glass of strong liquor. I hesitated, unable to find a reason to refuse, and was about to force it down when a slender hand snatched the wine from me. Before Liu Ruyan could react, Su Wan Wan had finished the glass. Finally, she smiled at the director and said, "Don't make it hard for the newcomer." Liu Ruyan looked at me, and after our gaze met with Su Wan Wan's in the air for a long time, I was the first to snap out of it. I happened to catch her indescribable expression. She snorted and started clapping, her voice sounding sarcastic. The relationship between director Su and Mr. He is really unusual. You can even share the same glass of wine. Hearing this, Su Wan Wan was about to speak, but I interrupted her first. I just sat on a plane for over 10 hours and I'm quite tired. I can't stay long today. Anyway, there will be plenty of chances to meet in the future. Everyone, have fun tonight. It's on me. After saying this, I got up to leave without even a glance at Liu Ruyan. Seeing this, Su Wan Wan looked at me worriedly. Hey Kang, are you okay? I'll take you back. I shook my head. No need, I can go back by myself. Can you find the place by yourself? Su Wan Wan smiled. Let's go, I happen to have some things to handle back there too. I hadn't planned to stay in Jingzhou for long, so I was going to stay in a hotel. But Su Wan Wan said she had several houses in her complex that were empty anyway, and invited me to stay in hers. I refused several times, but she was quite persistent, so I stopped being awkward and agreed. Su Wan Wan greeted the people present and took me away. Just as we reached the underground parking lot, Liu Ruyan called out from behind, "Hey Yang, wait a moment." Both Su Wan Wan and I stopped. Su Wan Wan instinctively protected me behind her and smiled at Liu Ruyan. President Liu, do you have something for Hekyang? It's quite late today. If it's business, we can talk at the set next time. But Liu Ruyan didn't listen to her at all. He bypassed Su Wan Wan, grabbed my arm and asked with red eyes, "Where have you been these 5 years? Do you know that back then?" President Liu, please behave yourself. I interrupted her, broke free, and took a step back. A flash of bewilderment and sadness crossed her eyes as she hoarsely repeated my words. President Liu, behave yourself? Hey Cheng, you never used to call me that. I looked at her expressionlessly and answered indifferently. As you said, that was in the past. It's definitely different from now. If there's nothing else, Don't block the way. I'm going back to rest. Seeing me about to leave, she quickly grabbed me, her voice suddenly becoming pathetic. I don't want you to go! Hye-kyung, I have so much to ask you and tell you. This time, before I could answer, Su Wan Wan strode over and pulled her hand away from me. President Liu, Hye-kyung is tired. Please don't harass him. If there's anything, say it next time. We're going home. After Su Wan Wan said this and was about to take me away, she cold snorted and looked at us gloomily. You're going home? You live together? Hearing this, Su Wan Wan nodded. We indeed live in the same place. I don't care what past you had with Hye-kyung, but he is very tired now and needs rest. So stop pestering him. After this, Su Wan Wan gave her no more chances and took me away. On the way back, I sat in the back seat. Neither Su Wan Wan nor I spoke first, but I could feel she had many questions. I then told her the story of me and Liu Ruyan. As she listened, her frown deepened. She and I weren't exactly boyfriend and girlfriend. We just walked a path together supporting each other, I said. Then I turned to Su Wan Wan and jokingly asked, but talking to Liu Ruyan like that just now, aren't you afraid she'll withdraw her investment? Su Wan Wan then snapped out of it and smiled casually. Hye-kyung, the one who doesn't want to continue the cooperation is me. It's just an investment. I can feel it myself. Hearing this, I burst into laughter. So cool, Director Su. If she really withdraws her investment later, you're not allowed to blame me. Su Wan Wan smiled helplessly and reached over to ruffle my hair. That won't do. Who else would I blame but you? The atmosphere was much more cheerful than imagined. This had been the way Su Wan Wan and I got along for 3 years. Comfortable and relaxing, making me feel no burden. She had arranged my stay and even thoughtfully made the bed for me. I live upstairs. Just call me if you need anything. The auntie has been cleaning this place, but the bed wasn't made. I'll have someone come again tomorrow to tidy up. After she finished, the bed was also made. She turned back and smiled at me. Just make do for tonight. I looked at the well-managed room and nodded with a smile. Okay. It's hard work for the great Director Su to personally make the bed for me. This lowly one is truly grateful. Only you would say that. After tidying everything, she said, I'm going back to rest too. After reminding me for a long while, she suddenly dove into my arms. My whole body stiffened, my hands hanging in the air, not daring to hug her. But she held me even tighter, leaning against my chest and whispering, Hye-kyung, long time no see. Soon I devoted myself to the filming of the movie, staying on set all day, researching the script, and going home with Su Wan Wan after work. My cooking was very good, and in just a few days, Su Wan Wan gained a few pounds. One day after finishing work, as we were walking out side by side, Su Wan Wan smiled and asked me, What are we eating tonight? Didn't you want sweet and sour pork ribs last time? Enough, Hye-kyung. Don't you see how fat I've gotten? While we were teasing each other, Liu Ruyan suddenly popped out from somewhere and blocked our path. Actually, she had been coming to the set frequently these few days, always looking like she wanted to say something to me. However, I deliberately avoided her, so there wasn't much she could do. President Liu, if you're not confident in the filming progress and quality, you can still withdraw your investment. I won't charge you liquidated damages, Su Wan Wan said unpleasantly. But Liu Ruyan still ignored her, walked straight to me, and asked somewhat humbly, Hye-kyung, I want to invite you to dinner. I also have a lot to tell you. I knew if I didn't agree, she would keep pestering me. So I sighed helplessly and nodded. Then I looked at Su Wan Wan. You go back first, I'll talk to her. Hye-kyung. Su Wan Wan wanted to say something, but in the end, she held back and said with a cold face, I'll wait for you to come home for dinner. After saying this, she glared at Liu Ruyan and strode away. Once Su Wan Wan's figure completely disappeared, Liu Ruyan looked at me again. What's the matter? President Liu can just say it here. However, I don't think there's anything left for us to talk about. Facing my decisive attitude, she curled her lips bitterly. You lied to me. You clearly promised to talk to me when you came back. But when I went to find you that day, you had already disappeared. I thought you went back to see Zhang Yi without telling me, so I drove for a day and a night back to the county to find you. Zhang Yi said you never went back. Hye-kyung, do you know how desperate I was at that moment? Looking at her pained expression, my heart remained calm. I was even wondering if Su Wan Wan would make sweet and sour ribs for me later. I didn't know, and I don't want to know, Liu Ruyan. Since you chose Lu Mingyuan, I wish you both the best, which is why I chose to leave. Saying this, I paused and shrugged. Besides, we have no relationship anymore. Hey Kang! Hearing this, she roared, her eyes already incredibly red. How can you say we have no relationship? You saved me. You worked 4 jobs a day to support me. You are the one who haunts my dreams. Now you say all of this has nothing to do with you? Do you have a conscience? Hearing this, I couldn't help but laugh. I looked at her with a frown, confused. Shouldn't I be the one asking you that? Lo Ruyen, do you have a conscience? Have you really forgotten the things you said to me? She was left speechless by my question. Her mouth opened and closed several times before she said, Hey Chiang, believe it or not, I really know I was wrong. I had a dream. In that dream, you used the debt of saving my life to force my father to let me marry you. I was happy at first, until I met Lu Mingyuan during a collaboration. My relationship with him became very subtle. At that time, you misunderstood my relationship with Lu Mingyuan, and at some point we drifted apart. I gradually became very bad to you and even caused your death. Later, I was filled with regret and developed a serious mental illness, eventually committing suicide for you. But as soon as I opened my eyes, I was back to 2 days before you left. So I tried my best to keep you. She hurriedly took out a velvet box from her pocket. Inside was the same diamond ring she had thrown away back then. I originally wanted to propose to you. I wanted to make up for the harm I caused you in the past, but you left without saying goodbye. I looked for you for 5 whole years. Listening to these words, my first reaction was that she had also been reborn. Thinking this way, I suddenly understood why she had contacted me the night before I left, and why she had suddenly changed into a different person. I took a deep breath. But you said Lu Mingyuan was pregnant. As a man, would you really just change the partner for the child? Hey Chiang, I'm innocent, she interrupted me and explained urgently. No one is pregnant. I can swear on my life. That was just a lie Lu Mingyuan made up to make you give up. Hey Chiang, believe me. From her expression, she wasn't lying. But in the previous life, she indeed had feelings for Lu Mingyuan. It's just that this time, she was reborn before anything could happen. I was suddenly in a daze, feeling that fate was playing tricks. But things had already happened. From the moment I decided to leave, I never thought of turning back. Now, I also didn't plan to tell her that I had been reborn as well. So I laughed coldly. The story is well made, but even so, we can't go back. Liu Ruyan, stop disturbing my peaceful life now. After saying this, I turned to leave. She suddenly gave a low laugh and then asked despondently, Is your coldness toward me because of Su Wan Wan? Hearing this, I stopped but didn't look back. Even if it's not because of her, I would still be cold to you because of someone else later. Because the Hekyang who was passionate toward you was lost by you a long time ago. As soon as I pushed the door open, I saw Su Wan Wan busy in the kitchen wearing an apron. The dinner she had prepared was already on the table. Hearing the movement, she turned back and smiled faintly at me. Wash your hands and eat. I knew Su Wan Wan was angry because of what happened earlier, so I walked into the kitchen and washed my hands by her side for a long time. Su Wan Wan didn't look at me from beginning to end, still busy with the things in her hands. After I finished washing my hands and stood there looking at her, she finally snapped out of it and said to me, Go out. It smells like oil smoke. Su Wan Wan, are you angry? The sudden question made her freeze. Even her cooking movements stopped. After a moment, she said, Hey Xiang, do I have the qualification and status to be angry now? When she asked this, there was a strange sadness. In the 3 years I had known her, Su Wan Wan had always been sunny and cheerful. Getting along with her for 3 years, I had also gained many unexpected joys. Our relationship had been ambiguous for a long time, but at that time, I had to study and live my own life, and she was also on her own journey, so we tacitly didn't mention it. Until this time, Su Wan Wan took the initiative to invite me back to Jingo to participate in the recording of Yan Chantian. To be honest, I was timid when I first heard her invitation, because I was afraid we would really only become ordinary friends. But in the end, bravery conquered timidity. I thought I should come to her side. So before Su Wan Wan could react at all, I took a step forward, held her face in my hands, leaned down slightly and kissed her. I could feel her body trembling slightly, then becoming stiff, until a long time later she dropped the spatula turned off the stove, hugged me tightly, and stood on her tiptoes to deepen the kiss. Su Wan Wan was much shorter than me. With one turn, I easily lifted her to sit on the kitchen island. One of her hands was on my chest, and the other was hooked around my neck. Ambiguous hormones exploded in the air. We were both like fish stranded on a beach, gasping for air. Until I placed her on the soft mattress. Under the dim light, Su Wan Wan could still clearly see the love I couldn't hide in my eyes. I looked at her like a treasure, caressed her face, and finally leaned down to give her a light kiss on the corner of her lips. She didn't answer directly. She raised her neck to kiss me again, which was already the best answer. Sensing that I was awake, Su Wan Wan walked in wearing pajamas. She looked at me, and from the moment she saw me, the smile on her face never stopped. She sat by the bed, leaned over to kiss me, and asked if I wanted to continue sleeping or eat something. "Let's eat something." I kissed back, got dressed, and walked out of the bedroom holding her hand. On the table were the dishes she had reheated, including the sweet and sour ribs I had been longing for. The sense of happiness at this moment was unspeakable. Once the relationship was confirmed, Su Wan Wan and I didn't hide it at the set anymore. Soon, everyone knew we were dating, including Liu Ruyan. When Liu Ruyan rushed into my lounge and pushed the door open, I was revising the script. Being startled by her, my inspiration was instantly cut off. I felt a surge of anger for no reason, put down the script, and looked at her with a frown. "Has no one taught you to knock before entering?" Liu Ruyan didn't speak, looking at me silently, expecting me to clarify my relationship with Su Wan Wan. However, to her disappointment, I looked up at her and said plainly, "They're not talking nonsense. Su Wan Wan and I are indeed together. I'll inform President Liu when we get married. Come and give a red envelope then." My indifferent attitude completely enraged her. She rushed to me in a few steps, pressed my shoulders hard, and asked in a panic and anger, "Are you still blaming me for what happened before? Are you still being angry with me over those things? But Lu Mingyuan and I really have no relationship. Hekyang, from beginning to end. The only one I love is you. I will never forget that you saved my life, nor will I forget the 5 years we lived together in the small town. We are each other's only one. How can we become strangers?" At the end, a hot tear fell on my face. Liu Ruyan's eyes were hollow, and she looked at my neck in despair. There was a matching red mark there. Her pupils suddenly contracted, and she raised her hand to rub that spot hard, but besides making it redder, it didn't disappear. After she realized what it was, she dropped her hand and stumbled. "You two," I really couldn't take it anymore and pushed her away, standing up suddenly. "Liu Ruyan, from the moment we returned to Jingo, you didn't let anyone mention our past. I heard with my own ears you telling those friends that those 5 years were the most shameful days of your life. Later, you and the people around you reminded me again and again that because I saved you, I could live the good life I have today. Don't forget what you said, that I'm just an orphan from a small county town, and without you, I could never become what I am today." No. Liu Ruyan wanted to argue but had no way to speak. I took a deep breath and said tiredly, "True, without the Liu family's generosity, I wouldn't have the life I have now. But I saved your life, so we're even." "I don't want to be even with you," she cried out, tears falling rapidly, and took another step forward to grab my hand. Seeing this, I hurriedly took a step back. "Don't come over, Liu Ruyan. I know the dream you mentioned is because you were reborn, because I am too." Hearing this, she froze and looked at me in disbelief. "It's because of everything I experienced in my previous life and the images of my tragic death that often appear in my dreams that I can't forget everything I truly went through. God gave me a chance to be reborn, and I don't want to be entangled in a meaningless, rotten relationship anymore. I'm living very well and happily now, and I hope to protect this happiness without being disturbed. That's why I haven't told you about the rebirth. Now that you know why I left you, I hope you can respect my decision." I took a deep breath and looked at her. "So stop disturbing me." In the end, Liu Ruyan left without saying anything. I thought we would never see each other again, but I never expected that news of her suicide would come that night. I heard that when the doctor arrived, her body temperature was already dropping. She had soaked herself in the bathtub, and the cuts on both wrists were deep enough to see the bone. It was clear she was determined to die. Fortunately, the servant at her home found her in time, saving her life. Su Wan Wan asked if I wanted to see her. I was silent for a moment. Director Su is so generous? Then should I just make up with her and have 2 girlfriends? Hearing this, Su Wan Wan laughed and leaned into my arms. I'm not that generous. In the summer of the following year, Su Wan Wan and I held our wedding. She even thoughtfully brought the villagers who had taken care of me, because I said I wanted everyone who knew us to witness our happiness. Someone had once used my most sensitive past to stab me deeply, but someone else cherished my past and vowed to be good to me for a lifetime. I'm not sure what kind of ending counts as beautiful, but I think the present is the best. It was almost time for the ceremony. I sat in the lounge, tidying my suit every now and then. Nervousness spread in my heart. Just then, the phone on the table rang. I saw it was an unfamiliar number. Without thinking much, I answered. There was a long silence on the other end. Just as I thought it was a prank call and was about to hang up, a hoarse and familiar voice sounded. It's me, Hekyang. I just received a call from Su Wan Wan. What did she say? She said you're getting married today? I used to think the one marrying you would definitely be me. Later, I did marry you, but I didn't know how to cherish it. I deserve to lose you. Hearing this, my heart tightened, but I didn't know how to comfort her. She let out a long sigh and continued. She said that even if I'm unwilling, I should choose to fulfill it. At least Su Wan Wan is the one who can make you happy. It's just a pity I can't see you walking toward happiness. From now on, I will travel the world, and at every place I go, I will sincerely pray for you, wishing you peace and joy. If one day you no longer receive my blessings, perhaps I have truly died in a foreign land. At this point, her tone was a bit heavy. Finally, she said, I'm sorry. And I love you. Memory was suddenly pulled back to 10 years ago, the summer I picked up Liu Ruyan. The youth sat beside me in clean clothes. We watched the orange sunset, and she suddenly turned to me and said, Hekyang, I want to watch the sunset with you for a lifetime. The wedding march sounded at that moment. I hung up the phone and placed it on the table. I took a deep breath, tidied my suit, and took Su Wan Wan's hand as we walked toward a new life.